India has a strange weather problem. It's not that the rains have gotten worse or the heat more unbearable, it's that we've made ourselves more vulnerable to them. Storms now flood cities that once held up fine, hillsides collapse where trees used to hold them together, homes go underwater where lakes once spread out to soak up water, and the numbers show it clearly. Disasters in India are no longer rare. They are routine and they are costing us far more than just headlines.
Very heavy rainfall.
Floods and landslides.
Very heavy rainfall is.
Heavy rains have caused widespread damage.
Large parts of North India have witnessed rains like never before.
Welcome back to Behind the Headlines, a series where we cut through the clutter around trending news and show how it really affects you. Today we are diving into something you've probably seen on the news, but maybe haven't fully connected to your own life yet. India faces natural disasters on 322 out of 366 days on average, meaning a disaster occurred nearly every day, or more precisely, once every 1.13 days. Floods, heat waves, cyclones, landslides, year after year, state after state. The headlines are repeating. But here's the thing, this isn't just a climate problem, it's an economic one, and it's already affecting everything from food prices to stock portfolios. So today, we will break down how the number of natural disasters in India has changed over time, why they are happening more often, what this means for the economy, the stock market, and you, and whether our disaster response system is equipped for what lies ahead. Let's get started. Let's begin with what the numbers say. In FY 24-25, over 3,000 people in India died due to extreme weather events. Now that's a 269% increase compared to 25 years ago. Since 1990, over 2,500 such events have been recorded, and they've only been rising in recent years. So the data is clear, but what is causing this spike? There are many factors, but instead of generic labels like climate change and urbanization, let's get into real visible causes, especially for floods, which are the most frequent and destructive. Reason 1. Encroachment over drainage systems. Cities have grown up by swallowing up wetlands, lakes, and natural flood channels. These wetlands soaked up heavy rain, lakes held excess water, and natural channels give water somewhere safe to go. Now that buffer is gone, which is why even moderate rain turns into flash floods. India has lost 1/3 of its natural wetlands in the last 4 decades. Think about it. Let's understand this with an example. In Chennai, poor drainage and encroachment over water bodies turned the 2015 rainfall into a full-blown disaster. Over 15,000 crore rupees in economic losses were recorded. Thousands were stranded. The result? Entire industrial zones shut down for days. India originally had around 2.2 lakh large wetlands and 5.5 lakh smaller ones. But 2 of every 5 wetlands lost their natural existence in the last 30 years. Reason 2. Deforestation in catchment areas. In the 2022 Assam floods, massive rainfall wasn't the only culprit. Years of deforestation resulted in rivers overflowing faster with more intensity. So forests that once absorbed excess rain were now completely gone. Deforestation in Kerala weakened the land's ability to absorb rain, contributing to the devastating 2018 floods. With over 5,000 landslides, 35 dams opened, and more than 1 million people were displaced. The disaster showed how tree loss amplified flood intensity and impacted thousands of lives. Reason 3. Infrastructure not built for today's rainfall. Many drainage systems, especially in Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns, were designed decades ago for lower rainfall thresholds. They simply cannot handle today's cloudbursts and downpours. So what we are seeing is not just bad luck, but the outcome of planning decisions, or perhaps the lack of them. The cost of these disasters is staggering, and not just in human lives. According to a recent report by Swiss Re, India lost over 1 lakh crore rupees to natural disasters in 2023 alone. And that doesn't even count the indirect costs. Here's how disasters hit the economy. Agriculture takes the first blow. Crop losses drive up food prices and force farmers into debt. Jobs disappear overnight. Floods destroy small shops, factories halt production, and tourism completely collapses. Supply chains break down. Chennai's 2015 floods saw automakers like Hyundai and Ford shut factories. Goods could not leave ports, and inventories just kept piling up. Now all of this leads to slower GDP growth, higher inflation, and deeper inequality. In fact, the World Bank estimates that India loses up to 2% of its GDP annually to natural disaster. Which is why India's disaster funding has gone up sharply in recent years. From 2021 to 2026, the central government allocated around 1.2 lakh crore rupees for the State Disaster Response Fund and around 55,000 crore rupees for the National Disaster Response Fund. For the first time, dedicated mitigation funds have been created, around 13,700 crore at the national level and around 32,000 crore rupees for states. Now, India is finally putting more money into disaster relief and prevention, but unless these funds turn into real action on the ground, the rising cost of floods and storms will keep outpacing the budgets. Let's bring this closer to the investing world. Natural disasters create volatility and markets hate uncertainty. Insurance stocks usually take a hit as claims shoot up. Infra stocks may rally, especially if construction demand rises post-disaster. Now, agriculture and fertilizer stocks behave erratically, completely depending on rainfall, flood damage, or crop forecasts. On the other hand, tourism and hotel stocks often crash. A major flood or cyclone in a destination state can completely wipe out seasonal bookings in just days. For example, after the 2015 Chennai floods, hotels and logistics companies in Tamil Nadu reported weeks of downtime. Many regional stocks saw a 5 to 10% dip during the recovery window. So yes, disasters affect your investments and they are starting to do it more frequently. Now, India has considerably improved when it comes to disaster relief. We have NDMA at the national level, SDRFs in every state, cyclone shelters in states like Odisha, and even an early warning system for floods. But we still spend far more on relief than we do on prevention. In most budget cycles, disaster relief allocations usually outweigh investments in drainage upgrades, urban flood modeling, or land use regulation, which means we keep rebuilding homes that were built in the wrong place to begin with. To their credit, the government has initiated a 2,500 crore flood mitigation plan for 7 major cities, including Mumbai, Bengaluru, and Chennai. But implementation again is slow, and state-level enforcement often lags. So the system is trying, but it's still not yet ready for what's coming. Now, what this means for you. If you are a salaried professional living in an urban area, here's what this means. Your insurance premiums may rise. Your home value may fluctuate based on flood risk. Your EMIs, SIPs, and investments might be exposed to sectors that are vulnerable to climate shocks. Your groceries, petrol, and rent may cost more after a major flood disrupts supply chains. Now, this isn't just a weather story. This is a financial story, a policy story, a planning story, and it's one story that affects every Indian. Now, disasters are no longer rare events. They are baked into the system. And unless we rethink how we build, plan, and invest, the costs will keep rising. Because this isn't just about waterlogged roads, it's about food security, job stability, urban resilience, and capital flow. The good news, fixing this is possible. Smarter land use, early warning tech, better urban drainage, and stronger enforcement can reduce future losses. But the question is, will we invest in prevention or just keep paying the price of neglect? Well, that's it from this episode of Behind the Headlines. We hope this helped you understand how natural disasters are shaping India's economy. So drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if there's a story you'd like us to break down next, please let us know. I'm Maharshi, and I'll see you next time with another story that's shaping your world. Until then, stay informed, stay sharp.